Everybody knows the series Pokemon, and that's one of my favorite series, especially when I was a kid. I still play Pokemon from all the games, all the cards, all the ROM hacks, everything that it has to offer. But I wanted to take it to the next level, so I decided to recreate a part of my childhood, Pokemon Red and Blue, inside of Unreal Engine and see what happens. So first I had to come up with a main character, and we all know the main character of Pokemon is Ash, but I didn't want to make Ash. I wanted to make the story more mature. So I decided to make Ash's older deadbeat brother, Smoke.
Look at this dude.
You serious?
After I made the main character, I needed to make sure he could move around just like the main character in Pokemon Red and Blue, which was not that hard because the Pokemon character only walks around. But I added in a jump, and I needed to make sure that he could throw Pokeballs. The animation for throwing was pretty sick, but I needed a Pokeball for him to throw, so I went to Blender and I designed a Pokeball. Then I attached the Pokeball to the character's hand and programmed the visibility. Lastly, I put some code on the Pokeball, giving it some projectile movement so it appears that the player is throwing the Pokeball. Since making the basic character movement wasn't that difficult, I decided to add in some extra, like some emotes, so that you could flex on your opponents in the game.
Who's that Pokemon? It's
Since the main character could now throw Pokeballs, he needed something to throw the Pokeballs at, so it was now time for me to design the Pokemon. And the first Pokemon that I designed was Beedrill. Now, I went to Sketchfab to go find a 3D model of Beedrill, and I found this guy who made all the Pokemon models. So I downloaded Beedrill, and then I decided to animate Beedrill myself and give it a few attacks and put it into the game. Now, when you throw a Pokeball at a Pokemon, the Pokemon disappears and you catch that Pokemon. Next, I recreated that process over and over and over again to make way more Pokemon and also give them animations and attacks and put them into the game. Since you can now catch a whole bunch of Pokemon, I thought it was a great time to make a HUD so that the player could track which Pokemon that they've caught. This way they can send them back out to battle or choose whatever. And this is the way that I did the HUD. First, on the left hand side, you get 4 slots for your team. I know it's 6 in the original Pokemon, but here it's 4. And then to the right, you have your whole PC with you, which is Bill's PC, and that's 15 extra slots for you to go ahead and use. So you really have got 19 slots of Pokemon that you can use interchangeably during the whole game. Here's how it works. So if I catch these Pokemon right here, so I catch the Electabuzz. Damn. Alright, I got Ekans, I got Weedle and Slowpoke. Let's see, we'll catch Magnemite. Let's see, Caterpie. Okay, cool. Now, if I press my HUD, you can see I got Squirtle, Ekans, Slowpoke, and Weedle on my team. Magnemite and Caterpie are the Pokemon that I got on in Bill's PC. Each Pokemon in the PC has a dollar amount attached to it. That means you can actually sell these Pokemon. So I wanted to add a new mechanic in the game where you could sell the Pokemon. So each one costs or is worth a certain amount. Then you can also switch out your team from this team. So all you have to do is click on Magnemite and switch it to where you want it to be on your team. So if you want it to be on your first slot, second slot, third slot, or fourth slot. If you put it here on your first slot, now when you choose your first slot Pokemon, you can send out Magnemite. Another thing I added to the game was when you do throw your Pokemon out, you're able to possess them instead of them just being able to battle. You can actually walk around the world as your Pokemon and do things by using their powers. I made sure that each character was different and that they had different attacks and different moveset. Then I thought about in the original Red and Blue how they have HMs such as Cut and Surf and Fly. So I decided to add that in my own creative way. In this way, each Pokemon has that ability as long as the trainer has that ability unlocked. And you can unlock those abilities by buying them at the mart. but only flying Pokemon can fly, and swimming water Pokemon can surf. The last thing I had to do before I started working on the environment was add a few items. The items that I chose to add in were escape ropes, so you could always get back to the last Pokemon Center that you were at. I added in revives, so that when your Pokemon does die in a battle, you can revive it and you'll be good. I added in Pokeballs, so that you can catch Pokemon, obviously. And then I added in evolution stones, so that you can evolve your Pokemon. Now, it was time to design the environment, and I wanted to be pretty accurate, so I started with Pallet Town and made it exactly how it was in Red and Blue. I continued on to make all the towns in Red and Blue and keep them accurate to how they were in the original game. There are a few things that I added and changed for lore and space purposes, but it's pretty accurate. I made Pallet Town, Pewter City, Mount Moon, Cerulean City, the Rock Tunnel, Saffron City, Lavender Town, Celadon City, Vermilion City, Fuchsia City, and even Cinnabar Island. Now, with all of these places finished, I had to add in a few extra things just to make it, the game that I want to play. So the land was huge. The land was gigantic and it was very difficult to navigate on foot the whole way. So just like in the original game, Red and Blue, the character had a bike that he could use. So I decided to add in a bike, which made things a lot easier to get around. The other way that you can get around this massive land is if you have Pokemon. You can use your Pokemon to help you navigate around the world. Last thing that I had to add into this game to make it complete or feature complete was a battling system. And I needed this battling system to work with my game, but very similar to how it worked in the old games. So the way it works is, just like in the old game, you have to walk up to a trainer for the battle to begin. Once the battle begins, you have to select the Pokemon that you're going to throw out, and then you use that Pokemon to battle the opponent's Pokemon. If your Pokemon loses, the battle is over, and you must go to a Pokemon Center or use a revive to be able to throw your Pokemon back out. If you win the battle, then you're going to gain some Trainer XP, which helps to boost the stats of your whole Pokemon team. Now, I would explain the lore on this video, but I'd rather you go play it for yourself and see what I'm cooking up. I've cooked up some lore all the way through maybe, let's say, Mount Moon or a little bit after Mount Moon. And then after that, I've got some updates to throw in there. But it is available right now for you to go play on itch.io. So go download it for free, play it, catch some Pokemon, go to the Pokemon centers and sell those Pokemon, get money, and see what you can do with your money. There's a lot of different Pokemon in there too, some that you would never even expect. So test it out, have fun. Thanks. Peace.